So compared to the amount of true physical games that we've gotten for the Nintendo Switch 2, I would say in the first 6 or 7 months of the Nintendo Switch 2 lifespan, we are going to be getting a lot more true physical games coming in 2026. And Limited Run has already announced their first true physical game coming to Nintendo Switch 2, which is High on Life Game of the Year Edition, and pre-orders are going to open for that game from February 1st to March 1st. So things are finally starting to get in motion for the Switch 2, and I'm betting that we're going to start seeing at least quite a bit more games from Limited Run for the Switch 2 going forward, which honestly isn't the most exciting thing for me, as I prefer for video games to get standard retail releases. But right now, we need all the physical game support that we can get for the Switch 2, so this is definitely great news. So the fact that Limited Run is now putting out Switch 2 true physical cartridges definitely proves that we're going to be getting more games in this format, but also there was the news that leaked from Inen, a publisher who is putting out the upcoming game R-Type Dimensions 3, which is a shmup. They had this whole controversy where they were saying they couldn't afford to put it on a true physical cartridge. A lot of their fan base complained, said they wanted the true cartridge, and then they gave an update saying that just 2 days ago, not from the time of recording this, but when they put the update out, that Nintendo had now given them more options for smaller cartridge sizes, which would save them a little bit of money. I believe it would be like $3 to $5 cheaper than them spending the 15 euros they said it would cost for that 64 gigabyte cartridge. And they actually changed the release of that game to a true physical game. Now, R-Type Dimensions 3 is set to release on May 19th, 2026 from Inen Games website, and also Strictly Limited. Pre-orders are open for it until February 9th. But that situation just proves that now publishers have more options. They have cheaper cartridge sizes available. So I think we will definitely get more true physical games on Switch 2 because of that. Now, I don't want to say that that's going to completely eliminate the key cards, because it's not. And a lot of these big publishers like Sega and Capcom seem to be pretty set on releasing at least most of their games on these game key cards, but who knows, maybe they may end up working with Limited Run like Sega has in the past, or maybe they will even just have some games coming out as Nintendo Switch 2 editions like Sega does for Sonic Cross Worlds, their latest kart racing game, which they have a true physical release coming out on March 26th for, and it is a Nintendo Switch 2 edition that will have both the Nintendo Switch 1 version and the Switch 2 version available all on the cartridge. So that's pretty cool to see that they're at least testing that out. I think it's just because they want that Sonic game to sell well. But hopefully, if a lot of people pick that up and it sells better than their key card releases, maybe that will prove to them that it's actually worth investing in true physical cartridges, and we'll see more releases like that from them going forward. Now, we have also had a couple of other true Switch 2 physical games announced to be releasing this year in the form of Japan imports. And the first one is pretty exciting to me because it does look like a great game, but I know the Switch 1 version was kind of lacking. And that game is Lollipop Chainsaw. It is getting a Switch 2 edition, and that game is set to release on March 26th. I believe pre-orders are up on PlayAsia, and I know for a fact they are already up on Video Games Plus. And then we have another Japan import. This game is called Love or Kiss Endless Memories, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, another Japan import that releases on April 30th. And both of these games are going to have English all on the cartridge. And the Love or Kiss game, I believe, is some type of visual novel. I don't know too much about it, but it looks kind of like a visual novel, waifu type of game. Either way, I think these Japan imports are going to keep coming, as they're a way for publishers to put out English games on the cartridge, and it saves them some money so they don't have to make a different physical release for every region. So that's one thing that is definitely great to see. I hope we see much more of that going forward, and I think we will see it quite a bit for the Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, which is very exciting. But for the rest of this video, I just want to highlight a lot of the other physical games, or pretty much all the other true physical games that I know are going to be released in 2026, just to show that we are already getting a lot of true physical games coming out, which is definitely very exciting for physical collectors. At the time of recording this video, Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition releases in just 2 days, and that day is on January 15th. It's also going to be getting an update on the same day, and it's definitely a true physical release that has both the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 version all on the cartridge, so that's pretty cool to see. I may pick that one up eventually, probably not day one for me, but a true physical Nintendo Switch 2 game that I am going to pick up on day one is Mario Tennis Fever, which releases on February 17th. That game looks content packed. It looks like it has a story mode that looks really cool, all kind of online modes, all kind of different game modes, a lot of playable characters, I believe up to 38 playable characters. So this game looks very exciting, looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm definitely picking it up right away. And before I continue talking about the rest of true physical games that we're getting for the Switch 2 in 2026, I just want to ask, if you're enjoying the video, if you would please hit that like button, please hit that hype button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already for more content like this. You doing all that does really help me out in the algorithm so much, and I really appreciate it. But back to today's featured video. And I just also want to note that if you're interested in pre-ordering any of these games and they're available on Amazon, I will go ahead and put the links in the description. That helps support the channel a little bit too. If you would like to do all that at the same time, I really appreciate it. But definitely buy these games wherever you want to. But I'm definitely excited to pick up a couple of beat-em-ups on the Nintendo Switch 2 that are getting true physical releases. And the first one is Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which releases on March 13th. And that is going to be getting standard and deluxe editions for both the Nintendo Switch 1 and the Nintendo Switch 2 separately. And then another exciting beat-em-up coming out is Rushing Beat X. And that is going to be getting a standard release and a steelbook release. And that game is coming out on March 19th, and that one does look really cool. I covered these games on the channel before, but I just wanted to cover them in this video again, just to highlight that we're already getting so many physical games for the Switch 2 this year. And the last true physical games that I know about are not the most exciting, but we're getting Bandit Trap on June 30th, and we're getting Order Up on June 30th. And these games are pretty expensive for what they are, in my opinion, but it's still cool to see more true physical releases coming out for the Switch 2. And I just want to note that I believe that these dates are just placeholder dates. I don't think those are the official release dates yet, but they have confirmed that they're coming in 2026. And those games all got announced in a batch of games that also included Pastry Panic and The Binding of Isaac Repentance Online Plus. And those games are set to release on March 31st, but I think those might be placeholder dates as well. I'm not too sure about that. I guess we'll have to see as time goes on. And of course, there's the big Switch 2 games that we know are coming out this year already, like Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. We pretty much know that's going to get a true physical release. That game is coming out sometime in the spring. Nintendo should be giving us a direct soon, probably updating us with new information. We also know that Super Mario Bros. Wonder Meetup at Bellabelle Park Nintendo Switch 2 edition is coming this spring. And we also know about Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. That's been confirmed to be getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition sometime this year. And then there is Rhythm Heaven Groove as well that comes out later this year. And another game that I've already covered on the channel that is getting a true physical game coming on April 23rd for the Nintendo Switch 2 is Shuten Order. And that game is a really unique visual novel that kind of combines different types of visual novels like romance, different genres, and puts them all together into one unique experience. And I believe it's made by one of the writers of the Danganronpa series. A lot of people love this game. It's already out on the Switch 1, but now it's coming to the Switch 2 officially. And on February 12th, we have Chromagun 2 getting a true Switch 2 physical release. And this is supposed to be a pretty unique game that meshes up puzzle solving, shooting, and painting. Sounds like a pretty unique experience. I don't know too much about it beyond that. But if you're into farming type of games, we have Outbound coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 on June 30th. And this is an open world kind of farming life sim game where you also get to live like in a van that has like a tiny house on it. If that's your thing, then you can look forward to that. And you know I had to save the best, most exciting game for last, because on June 25th, we are getting Bluey's Quest for the Gold Pin. Just kidding. I know some of these last few games weren't as exciting, but I just wanted to highlight all the upcoming Switch 2 physical releases that have been announced that I know about, just to show that we're definitely getting more true physical games coming to the Switch 2 this year and beyond. And the situation is definitely getting better. Although game key cards aren't going to completely go away, we're still going to get more options with more true physical releases. So that is definitely exciting. And the last game that I want to mention, it's a Nintendo owned IP. So we know that Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is going to come on a true physical for the Switch 2 when that comes out, and that is very exciting. It's set in the same world as Fire Emblem Three Houses. I cannot wait to get my hands on that game, as Fire Emblem Three Houses is my #1 favorite Switch game of all time and one of my favorite games of all time, period. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that hype button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, if you like Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 content, and I will definitely catch you all on the next one.